Thank you, IASA, for letting me speak on the BILT conference, Architecture of Tomorrow. And the topic that I'll be covering today is future-ready skills. So this is a bit of a tricky topic, because it's got a lot of history and then presence, and then because we say it's future-ready skills, so it's got a lot of future involved, the success of many millennials and employees and entrepreneurs and businesses. So let's see what we have in store. So the topics that I'm going to cover is a bit about my company that I'm working with, and my vision, then the global talent shortages, and skill gaps, capacity building, etc., etc. You can see on the screen. So before I continue, I would just like to tell a bit about my company. It's called Socio Engineering Technologies. We are basically a tech company, but we primarily work in providing education technology and also international skills certifications to all the employees, whether they're employees, freelancers, entrepreneurs, businessmen, no matter what age, what category, what field they are. We try to give them, capacity building certifications. And the reason behind is that this is the need of the hour. So Socio Engineering Technology has been doing this for the last since 1996, so it's been a long time, and I've been with them for over 8 years now. So a bit about this company. Let's move on. So just to sum it up, what my vision is that we always talk about equality in the globe. We talk about equality and equality. So, but we do not understand that instead of equality, we more like need equity. So for that, inequity in terms of tech and business and business around the globe, we need to have the future-ready skills. Now, what are the future-ready skills? I'm going to be talking about them ahead in a while. But before that, I want to dive into the history of it, as to why I'm talking about future-ready skills today in a tech conference, because of business leadership and everything. So you see on the screen, it says a global talent shortage at the record. So from the last 10 years, it's been doubled than what it was before. That means that the technology is changing, the world is changing, the globe is changing, and such that we need different skill sets, we need different knowledge, different comprehension and understanding of technology and how to use that technology to be able to be productive and success in the market. So this is what you can see. It's a record. It's a source, a survey which says it's almost 54% global average has a talent shortage. So if you were to dissect it into countries or regions, then you most probably can see it in front of you. The most difficult filling positions are in front of you, and with the least difficult as well. So I don't think I have to name them, but you can see the subcontinents also covered with it. So one of the reasons we are working so heavily in this subcontinent region, the Asian region and the Middle East region, that to make sure to cover this gap, and obviously working with our European and Western company friends and individuals to do the same. Just to lay emphasis on what I'm talking about, these are some of the statements by some of the renowned people around the world. For example, Christopher Leahy, Eurochamber's president, he said, "We are sleepwalking into a highly damaging socioeconomic crisis by failing to address growing skills mismatches across much of the European Union." So that means that there is a lack of skills. We've got degrees, we've got education, we've got literacy, everything, but skills are not there to be in the market, to compete in the market, to fulfill the market needs. So, if we have to put it into numbers, a lot of 19.9 million students in America and American colleges, attend the universities. The universities claim that 72% of their recent graduates are ready for work, but surprise, surprise, only 42% of employers agree that they are. That means that the gap between the industry and the practical world is huge. It's almost about 30% of a difference between the work and the education academia. If I have to further lay emphasis, 51% UK, 45% Europe, 44% US. Almost half of the workers in the US, UK, Australia, Canada, Europe don't think the higher education prepared for them for this career. Now, this is not my claim. This is from the individuals who are graduated and now are working in the current industry. So, what is the best solution to it? The best solution is to build capacity building, to create capacity building, to do digital collaboration. Now, the employees and the employers need to understand that the employees are the biggest asset of the companies. While we believe that the tech is taking over, but we still need to understand that the tech is actually derived by the employees, the brains, the human brains behind it. So for us, for business people, for entrepreneurs, for industries to, tech industries to evolve and for them to succeed and to be able to be productive and in line with the timelines, we need to analyze the weakness and strengths of our employees, our stakeholders, and then we need to make a strategy to implement and cover those strengths, those weaknesses. And then obviously we need to also further evaluate whether what we've done is good enough. If not, we need to reevaluate and implement the needed information and needed skill sets. So moving on, when we talk about future-ready skills, it's a tech world. No matter what category or field you're working in, we must understand that technology is always there. The AI, the cybersecurity, the cloud infrastructures, all of these technologies are now embedded in each and every field of the society, whether it's medical, whether it's tech itself, whether it's education, business, finance, whatever you have to do, it's driven by technology. So for that reason, I believe some of the skills that you see on the screen, which is called digital literacy, communication skills, office strategy, virtual presentations, NLPs, these are some of the certifications, some of the skill sets that are really mandatory for the youth, for the millennials, or for the existing employees to have right now. Especially after the advent of COVID-19 in 2020, we need to understand that we have a really racing timeline and we need to compete with it. And the only way we'll be able to cope with such a change is to be able to make our current skill team, make our current teams and the future millennials to be able to have these skills. So if I have to just, talk a bit about these certifications to let you know the emphasis and importance of these. When we talk about digital literacy, it sounds like very basic, but the point is that we all know that a lot of employees, and we get it all the time around the globe, that XYZ company has been hacked, employee data leaks, even Google password leaks recently happened, and there are different other sorts of data leaks. So why does it happen? Because of the lack of digital literacy and cybersecurity. People do not understand how to protect their identity online, especially, I've been in the US for like 5-6 years, and one of the most important things I used to be told by everyone around is to make sure you protect your social security, your identity, to make sure your credit scores are fine and everything. So for that, we need to be digital literate on how to use the technology and be safe at the same time. And secondly, moving on to communication skills for business. So no matter how talented you are, no matter how talented your employee is, you yourself are, you are no good if you cannot communicate with your stakeholders, with your clients, with your market, with your target audience. So if you're unable to communicate and make them understand what you're trying to say, there's no point. Everything is a mood. There's no point in having any talent at all. So for communication skills for business, it's very important you need to understand how to tackle situations in terms of crisis and chaos, or in terms of pressure, or in simple terms of normal routine work. We need to understand how to go about it. Then office-ready skills. Obviously, we believe our generation has learned from trial and error, but now there's no time for trial and error. We need to be up to the mark. We need to be prepared in advance. That means if we jump up to Indeed.com, one of the leading recruitment websites in the US, you would find that every job, no matter how big or small, starting from an office assistant to a CEO or a CFO or a CTO, they require office skills. Why? Because half of the work that you do is based on office skill sets. And now that the COVID-19 is here, a lot of people are working from home. So that means we need additional skills to be able to work efficiently within from home. So like this conference itself, we're having a virtual conference. You're sitting on the other part of the world, Wendy, and I am sitting on this side of the world, and we're having a virtual conference, and a lot of people are looking at us, hearing us. So this is a joint collaboration, and this could not be done if we do not have the skill sets to be able to communicate and make these presentations and then use the softwares to communicate with each other. Then obviously, likewise, the fourth point is automatically described in my previous point, the virtual presentations, just like this. I'm doing my virtual presentation with all of you. Then the NLP trainings. Now the problem is that after COVID-19, a lot of people have felt that they lack the skill sets, or they do not have the required talent to be able to acquire those skill sets. So now this is something that requires NLP, neuro linguistic programming trainings. Where we can program, where we can reprogram brains, that's mindsets of people, and make them believe that they can also acquire all these talents, all these skill sets that are required for them to succeed in the market. It's not just, it's just not, they're not lacking behind, they're not any less than any other new individual. They can do it as well. So these are for people who are already in the market, but fear the change, fear to learn what's new coming in. Then we've got entrepreneurship. Since digital marketing has taken so much hype, and the world has become a hybrid space, one global village, because of the digital connect. Entrepreneurs have been rising, and drastically they're going up. Everyone wants to become an entrepreneur, but the problem is, what is an entrepreneurship? How do you really become an entrepreneur? What are the elements that you need? What are the points that you need to understand before you become an entrepreneur and after you become an entrepreneur? So these things make you understand these skill sets. Acquiring these skill sets are really important. Then the IT skills, of course, for people in the IT industry, tackling issues for people working from home, making sure the systems are working, making sure all the companies' roles are working, all the categories or the fields or the departments are able to communicate with each other, regardless of the fact they are in on site or working from home. Then the most important part right now, I believe, the most booming industry right now is cybersecurity. Why? Because obviously we've gone digital. So while we've gone digital and while we believe that this has been a really big ease, at the same time, it's been a big challenge to make sure whatever we do, whatever activities we do online are secure, because a lot of activities from business, from industries are, sensitive information. I wouldn't like to name, but take Facebook, for example. They have a lot of details of, employees. Take Google, for example, for people who are using Google. So what if these servers, these information holding servers are hacked? This is a big issue. A lot of people will lose their information and could be put to bad use. So naturally, we need cyber ninjas. We need people with cybersecurity skills to make sure these things does not happen. And same applies for small scale industries, small institutions, entrepreneurs, startups, to ensure that they can, succeed in the market and be able to actually work digitally. And then obviously financial tools are there now, since we are becoming global activists and globally connected. And finance activities are there. A lot of financial tools are being used to be able to sell, to be able to work from across the borders, and not just limit yourself within one local region So just like if I have to take an example for my own region, Pakistan, it's really difficult to make transactions online because to stop money laundering and stuff. But if you know the exact right tools and the legal ways to do it, you'll be able to succeed. You'll be able to make those transactions, which means more business for the locals, more business for the people abroad who are working with us. Naturally, it connects. It bridges the gap and connects us with the outer world. So this is my aspect of financial tools and behind it. And then most why I have kept innovations, because in the end, everything we do right now requires some sort of innovation. So for you, for anyone, Wendy, you yourself, myself in my company, any employee, any student, anyone who wants to do anything has to now think out of the box. They have to now think beyond the traditional means. They have to be innovative in their thoughts, in their exercise, in the implementation of skills. So if they know what innovation is, what are the tools of innovation, what are the ways of innovation, how to go best about it, they can use all the above skill sets that I've spoken about, and you put them towards the innovation mindset and create something really, really productive, create something really new for the market, which can make everyone get benefit out of it and change the whole world. As just like how COVID-19 has changed us, not just medically but also digitally. Moving on. So like why for employees, I want to talk about a bit of employees that they believe sometimes there's a concept of, so we employees do not want to spend funds, train their employees because they believe they might leave. But we need to understand that the employees are the main assets. So if you put training skills into your employees, you make them understand how to work efficiently within the workplace, they will bring you profits. They will make your company skyrocket. They will make your operations work more smooth as possible. If they know the latest frameworks, agile frameworks, traditional Kanbans, they know how to work with the technology, they will be able to effectively, confidently work for your institution, for your company, and give you the best of themselves, and which will obviously result in the improvement of your company and hence in the financial aspect as well. So at the same time, if we were to just highlight the main important points in it, it's right in front of the screen. It says increase productivity, uniformity of work processes, reduce wastage, reduce supervision. If you're a skilled-based person, not manager, the manager doesn't have to look on the team all the time. They know the team knows what they're doing and be able to produce the required work in the required time. Then obviously the knowledge policies and improve customer evaluations. So if your employee is skilled enough, so it's not just good for your company, it's going to benefit your client, which is directly beneficial for the company as well. I hope I am getting through to you guys. So the results, we like I said, for the employees, it's the increase in revenue. It's what how a company can scale themselves. If they are working remotely, they can have employees around the globe. They can establish their identity throughout the globe, not just restricted to one region, not just restricted to one locality. They can work throughout the globe. That's how freelancing is taking such a boom right now. People are hiring overseas employees to work remotely. Facebook has gone remote. Google has gone remote. A lot of other companies have gone remote. Why? Because they now understand that if their employees have the right skills and know how to work remotely, they do not need to come on site. In fact, this is how they will be able to generate more revenue and interact with more people and capture more market. So while we talk about how employers could have benefited from this, we need to understand how this benefits the career of people, whether they're entrepreneurs, whether they're freelancers, whether they're job-seeking personals, whether they're employees. These are some of the details, percentages from one of the surveys. Survey link is in the bottom if you would like to go over there. It says men with IT certifications earn 63% more than with an associate degree and a bachelor degree. Imagine this importance of skills right now, that if you have a degree right now, it is still, if you have a IT certificate along it, you get to earn 63% more, which is a huge deal. Which means that the degree, the education is just not enough anymore. Similarly goes for women with IT certificates, they earn 69% more. This is amazing. I mean, I love the figure is higher than the men in this aspect, because women have such talents in IT sites, and for them to earn 69% more with an IT certificate is just brilliant, amazing. This is what we all strive to work. This is what I'm talking about. This is the equity that I'm talking about, not the equality, the equity itself. So there's no gender discrimination. There's nothing. There's one individual who's working, and it's affecting how it's getting help through skills certification, through getting skilled, whether it's IT skills, whether it's soft skills, whether it's whatever skills that are needed. It's helping them out with. And this, and the third point, women with certificates in office related work earn 48% more than with. So like, again, same thing, office related certificates, skills, 48% more earnings. That means that the people who are working right now, if they get skills, and the millennials who are coming into the industry are getting skills certifications, they will definitely earn more. And when they earn more, that means the economy is booming, and which also means that the industry is expanding, the industry is working more, they're generating more revenue. That is how they're earning, the employees are earning as well. So this is a huge, complete turnkey cycle. It's not just affecting one people, it's affecting the whole globe economically and technology. So, and it's also connecting everyone around the globe, which is very important. I'm trying to lay emphasis on this connectivity, because these new skills, these just digital skills are connecting everyone around the globe. This is why technology is so important. But like I said, there are brains behind those technology, and if those brains can have innovative thoughts, there's no end to what we can achieve. Furthermore, just a bit of more, motivation for the individuals in all the industries, that 90%, 91% of hiring manager consider employing certification of accredited for hiring. Obviously, this is a common thing. I mean, if I have to come back to a lot of people might not be able to relate, or might be able to relate this in our region, in the subcontinent, in the Asian region. Whenever an employee goes, or a candidate goes in for an interview, they always ask, do you know how to work in office? Do you know how to use office tools? Do you know how to work on ERPs, or how to use analytic tools? So we are always talking about putting those 3 strikes, 4 strikes on our resumes, or talking about being intermediate, expert, proficient. This is what we are claiming, and then we are getting evaluated upon our claims, and then it's up to the employer, the hiring committee, to really agree to you or not. But if you have the skills, I won't be taking any brand names, because this is not a promotion. This is just the emphasis of why skills are so important. If you have those skills, those certificates with you, which identify, which credify your knowledge, and the employee does not need to ask you that question anymore. They would know that you are good for it. Similarly, 85% of supervisors report that certified employees are more productive and require less preparation. Like I said, if you know your skills, the manager's not going to worry about it. They know you're going to work in. They won't bother you much. They will be more confident in you. In being confident in your employees means more independence for the employees, and more opportunity for them to boom and show their talent and be productive. So, if I have to go towards the conclusion, I would want to talk about that, whether we are employees, freelancers, entrepreneurs, we seek to gain future-ready skills to compete, succeed in the market. It's important. Technology is everywhere. In order to use those technology, we need to have the right skills, the right talent, the right mindset, and don't forget, we need to be innovative in those technologies to be able to create something that's outclassed, that is going to beat everyone around the globe and bring in a new era of technology. Thank you. I guess this is pretty much it what I wanted to convey as far as skill certification is concerned. Wendy?
All right, outstanding. The presentation was so informative too. I loved all of your statistics. You gave us a really illuminating picture of sort of what's going on, the challenges, the opportunities, and really enjoyed your thoughts on what the future ready skills are. So well done. We have lots of time for Q&A, which is wonderful. So please, everyone, keep the questions coming. You can enter them in the question tool. So I'll get started with a few we have here. So,
Sure.
you know, what is all of this mean for education systems, and I mean really from you know, initial education of kids all the way up to higher education. So how do we need to teach? How do we need to shift paradigms? Just what does this look like for the education system?
Yes, this is one of the most important questions that you could put up, Wendy. And I'm sorry if it's from someone from the viewer. It's one of the brilliant questions. You see, from the very start, we can involve skill sets that could, you know, train the brains of kids and make them understand that there is world beyond the education itself, from the traditional education. Obviously, just like how I was talking about digital literacy. So if imagine a kid at grade 4 or 5, he starts learning digital literacy at the time of when he's going to graduate in K-12. You could imagine how well, his knowledge power for when he goes online, when he's going to work in digital. Which means for us to be able to do that, the schools, the education sector must revisit their scope, their aims, and their goals as to what they need to communicate and disseminate in terms of knowledge for the students, for the kids. They need to create further, plans which involve these skill certifications, these programs which have these information details embedded within the curriculum that they're already going through, even if it's IT, if it's communication, if it's English, if it's languages, whatever has to be there. It should be embedded within the curriculums itself. So the reason I'm saying it should be embedded within, because if you embed it within the curriculum and it does not get identified separately, that it becomes accepted globally. People will understand that this is the norm. So if you make something the norm, it's easy to be accepted, and once it's accepted, it is easy to disseminate and multiply and expand. So if it were me, I would suggest all the education sectors throughout the globe to involve all these skills needed at different grade levels accordingly. Obviously, we have to have a think tank to sit together and see which skill set needs to be embedded at what grade level. But if we were able to do this, we will bridge the real gap, the gap that I showed earlier in my presentation, 30% of academic and industrial gap. We won't be having that problem. That means no more people claiming they aren't able to get jobs, no more kids being exploited online, no more business frauds. So you get the point. This is what I'm saying. That embedded within the curriculum instead of bringing it separately in. It creates more acceptability.
Absolutely. And to your point about being embedded into the curriculum, it seems like a number of those skills, as they should, they require hands-on, they require experience. How you learn to be entrepreneurial or develop innovation skills, those require putting those things into practice, not just sitting in a classroom learning sort of rote things as we do in some places today. So what are you seeing, or what are your ideas around how to create those hands-on opportunities, or does that lead to opportunities for partnership with companies, or just maybe speak to that if you would a bit?
Well, like you talk about innovation and entrepreneurship, in our localities, in our region, in the Asian region, we've been working really hard, even in the Middle East, because that's where I've been working for so long. We've been creating innovation centers. We've been creating incubation centers, which the primary reason for those areas or centers are to support the millennials, the people who are in the academia, who are trying to become entrepreneurs, or who are trying to be becoming innovators by applying the knowledge, not just learning. It's not just the theory, like you said, it's not just the theory itself, it's applied knowledge. So for us to be able to do that, even in the education sectors, we need to have innovation centers. We need to have entrepreneurial incubation centers where we can support those individuals or teams where they can work under our supervision, under our support maybe by the institutional support, maybe by the technical support, maybe by outsider supports like companies like us, or any other companies that are around which are working like us or thinking like us. So the primary thing is to create innovation centers and entrepreneurship centers, and have easy access to them. Make it easily accessible. If it has to be there, if it has to be in a school, it has to be there. It should be accessible. There should be a supervisor. There should be a manager who should help those kids take the necessary steps, just like how an entrepreneur needs to know what the market is, how to recognize an opportunity, what are the risks involved. So for a new coming generation, that for them to have this applied knowledge, they will have supervision, they will have the skill set, their mind would be trained. So all they need is supervision in the right path with the access to these centers. So like I said, if it has nothing to do with western side, eastern side, it applies everywhere. So for them to become entrepreneurs and waiters, you need to give them easy access, because not everyone has access to them.
Absolutely, and that is the key, isn't it? What do you see in terms of universities? Are they sort of embracing these skills and shifting towards that list that you laid out? Is there resistance? Maybe speak to that a bit.
To be honest, everyone is afraid of changes, and they're afraid of accepting change, and they feel challenged, threatened. But that's the main challenge for us, for people like us, to make them understand that this is for the good. This is for the good for the future. So coming back to your question, there is obviously a lot of resistance in the academia, but at the same time, they are also understanding that this is the need of the hour. We must accept. So there's a general acceptability in the back of the mind, but for them to be able to, accept it openly and do something about it in practical manners requires a bit of more time, more efforts by people who are working in this section, like people like me, people similar like my company, or people like yourself. We need to motivate, we need to set up more conferences, more awareness sessions for these universities, to make them understand, yes, this is what they need to do to produce a graduate that is worthy of the market, and does not feel that they didn't know what to do when they come into the market, and feel left out. So universities have this resistance, but they are opening to it. I wouldn't say that they are not. It will take time, but if we are persistent and consistent with our work, it's going to change.
Well said. Well said. Just a comment on, thanking you for the informative presentation, and your point that you were mentioning around certification. You had some really interesting and powerful statistics there. Question on, after certification, how do people keep their knowledge updated?
So this is great. So you remember, we're living in a world of technology. So technology keeps on changing. It's so fast that probably if you sleep with it's going to be a funny example. If you sleep with an iPhone 13, maybe in the morning you'll get an iPhone 14. So that's how fast technology is. So coming back to your question is, if they get certified, all they need is to keep an eye on the new technology changes. So the certification never expires. All you need to do is upgrade those certifications. For example, if someone's done a certification in cloud technology, so the cloud technology is changing day by day. So new techniques are coming, blockchain is coming in. So all they have to do is they need to just stay up to the date with the market, learn the skills. There are plenty of places they can learn online. They don't have to spend money. And once they've done this, they could just sit in the exams for whatever institute, whatever brands they are going certified in. and just keep themselves up to the mark, up to the latest technologies. Because if they don't do this, then again the same problem arises, because someone's there to change, replace you, and it's a competitive market. And for you to be successful and productive, you need to stay up to date. And the best, easiest way is to learn online and go. I mean, there are a lot of channels there, and just certify yourself, keep on upgrading. It doesn't expire, but you need to upgrade it, of course.
Yeah, and of course, we are living in a world of tech, as you said, indeed. What would you say are the most important? I mean, you've covered some, but the skills, the characteristics. What are the things that we have to? What are the things that make us the most human humans? And what are those things that we need to emphasize alongside sort of all the tech? What are those characteristics and emphases that we want to make sure not to lose?
Well, I guess for one, I think we should always be creative. We should not feel dependent on the technology. I mean, you know how how there was a trend saying that technology drives you, but it's not that. It's not the case. We drive the technology. So we need to keep that thing in mind, that it's our innovative minds that drive the technology, that bring in the technology. So we need to remain innovative. We need to have that critical thinking there involved. We need to be, we need to keep searching for new things, keep searching for new ideas. That is the only way we're going to stay human. Because technology evolves. We have AI, of course, but AI is something which is really new, but human brain has been there for a very long time. And if you were to compare AI with the human brain, there's no match. And if we keep on thinking, critically thinking, and always strive for more, to learn more ideas, to create more innovations, I think that's what the best thing is going to keep us to our ground roots of humanity. And at the same time, we also need to understand that having these skills just make us effective, but it's our own hard work, motivation, determination, and the will to be productive and to be positive is what makes us succeed. Skills are only the means to success, but you yourself, your thoughts, your belief, your function, your way of working is what makes you succeed. So that's what keeps you human.
Oh, that was very well said and a great reminder. On this sort of human thread here, is there a component of ethics that should be considered or taught? Because we can do a lot of things. Should we do them? What are the implications of the things we have the ability to do? So is there a component of ethics to be taught? And how do we sort of balance different interpretations and different paradigms and different rules and laws around the world, if so?
Yeah, I mean, and this is a wonderful question actually, and this is one of the challenges that we are facing in this digital market world as well. Um, Definitely, they need to be specific trainings and information dissemination that draws a line between what's good and what's bad. And obviously, each skills that you get, if you for example, if we were to take cybersecurity, if we understand them and we use it in negative means, that positive thing will instantly turn into a negative aspect. So that means we need to educate our millennials, our individuals, the way to draw the line. Where is that line to understand? This is where we don't have to go beyond. This is beyond the ethical means of use of that knowledge. So obviously there has to be set standards. I think the global think tanks should come together. IT think tanks, tech think tanks to come together and create some paradigms, create some structures which defines these goods and bads. And because obviously, like you said, in different countries there are different interpretations, but if there is a global organization or a global community, just like how UN is there, if there's a global community which defines these rules, these regulations, which is accepted throughout the globe, then we may be able to tackle these problems. And obviously there should be laws for the cybersecurity that should be spread around the globe. In the third world countries now the cybersecurity laws are coming in, so they should be implemented throughout the globe, which will maybe bring equality, and like you said, the ethical grounds will be met. But this, having said that, this is not an easy task. This will require a lot of hard work. This requires a lot of people who are out there working on this to take initiative, pro bono initiatives, and work with the governments, work with the industrial stakeholders, and build these dynamics to be followed, to be able to ethically, counter these problems.
Well said. How about another topic on sustainability? Sort of how does those right considerations of people, planet, profit, how does that get embedded sort of into our skills and our thinking as well?
Sorry, your voice got cut off. Can you repeat your question, please?
Oh, absolutely. Of course. Well, with the heightened, I think as warranted, attention and understanding of things such as climate change, or needing to continue sustaining business and organizations and in life. How should topics of sustainability, how should that be baked into mindsets or education or things like that? People, planet, profit consideration.
Yeah, I think like I said in the start, like how you asked me about the questions of how the paradigm should be for these skills. At the same time, if we need to understand what sustainability is and in what fields are we talking about sustainability, maybe it's climate change, maybe it's business environments, maybe it's medical. So for us to be able to create a sustainability, or create the mindset of people to be able to do sustainable activities, we need to have in organizations, or we need to have non-profit organizations or training organizations who promote the idea of sustainability. Just like how we have to give an example, when we go to universities or when we go to organizations and we offer them these skills developments, the first thing that we do is we offer them that you pick out a few of your individuals you feel are really motivated, really determined. We will transfer this knowledge to them. We will make them master trainers. We will make them masters of this knowledge, which means that once we exit this institution, you will have individuals who can keep this thing running. And this applies not just on certification, on skill sets. This applies on every knowledge, be it for climate change, for climate control, be it for business ethics, whatever thing is involved, be it for HR, finance. If there are individuals within each organizations from the very start, it has to start from this education level, from the school level, from K-12 till the universities. So if we have those people, individuals, organizations working together, I think that's how we will be able to promote the concept of sustainability, and at the same time also eliminate the elements that we do oversee the people in order to gain more business, more success, oversee some of the practices that may be damaging for the future. And if I have to go towards it, it's called climate, like yourself, climate change. So industrial changes are there. China is now, if you ever talk about China is now making green buildings, which the sole purpose of those buildings right now in Beijing is to have green plants all around, and to eliminate, to compensate the lack of purity in their environment. So because they now understand what they've done, they've damaged the environment so badly that they now have to work around it. And similarly goes for some of the Western areas, this is basically it. If we implant individuals, organizations from the very basic roots for this, we will be able to promote sustainability idea.
Yes. A question for you. I've read some things around organizations are sort of need to become a little bit of the universities of the future. It's one thread of thought, right? You've given us a much bigger picture here, but maybe thinking about big organizations and how they need to keep their people growing and provide opportunities. What sort of advice would you give to organizations to keep their people growing? And I think that's also a big part of retention, as well as making sure they have the talent where they need to be. So what do organizations need to continue doing or do differently?
Well, if we were to think about big organization, big giants, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, IBM, different big giants over there. They have their own systems, and they have their own ways to create talent, or increase or the employees' capabilities. But what I feel is that they need to be a separate uh, department, a creative department for the betterment of these employees. While we have, like how we have councils, we have career councils, we have people, psychological councils who counsel employees, maybe who's been through an accident, who's been having a tough time, something like that. So a lot of big giants have those. But at the same time, we need to have a separate department. Maybe it doesn't have to be have a big department. It could be a small department with few people in it. But the point is, if those people are there to keep an eye on what's going on in the market and what's going on socially, not just now we're talking about in a complete picture, not just the corporate market, but social. It's a social responsibility as well. And even from the medical aspect, if they can keep an eye of what's going on and how they can best take take steps for the employees to better make them understand that this is what they need to do. I think the employees can grow, and just not just financially, they can grow mentally, they can grow as individuals themselves. Their life, the way of living, their life quality can improve. If I mean, there are a lot of studies out there. I don't have the links, otherwise I would have mentioned them, which says that if your work environment is, comfortable, and if you're happy with your work environment, 90% of your problems can be solved easily, because because it's like half of the day of your entire life you are spending it in working environment. So it creates a great impact on your social life as well. So if you're comfortable from what you're doing, you will be able to replicate that comfortable level in your personal life as well. So that's where the growth is. The growth is not just corporate or professional. It has to grow in personal level as well. So the companies need to create small departments which will not just look on the professional aspect. They also look on the personal aspects of the lives without invading their personal space, just on the outlooks, and let them know that this is what is important, this was good for you. If you then let the individual decide whether they want to go ahead with that or not, because that's the freedom of that's a freedom, that's a right, and that's the freedom of speech, and that's their right to do so, whether they want to do it or not. But it's our responsibility, it should be the tech giants' responsibility to make sure those employees, the workers, the new recruits know what's best in the market and what's best for their lives. Then it's up to the employees.
Jibran, thank you for an absolutely outstanding presentation and Q&A, a very rich Q&A. Do you have any final words you'd like to leave us with?
Well, I would just like to say thank you to ISA and IASA, and let me speak in this conference. And I would like to just convey this to anyone who's listening out there, looking at me, listening to my words, that just believe in yourself. You're good for it. Develop your skills, and just make sure that you're confident and use those skills to a positive level. And there's nothing that can stop you. If Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, and Elon Musk can do it, you can do it as well. So build your skills, build yourself, and thank you so much, Wendy. You've been an excellent host. Your questions has been really lucrative, and I was really happy to answer them. I feel I've contributed something. I hope so. So let's hope for the best for the future.